Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. My name is Mpho and Tim. I've got Tim Delace here with me. If you are watching this, we did another podcast yesterday on the SA Under 19 with the coach, Denisha Devnaran. She took us through the journey, told us what she accomplished, or the things that happened on the journey. The girls only lost one game out of the 5 they played. The Super Six nature of the tournament kind of made sure that they got knocked out without even knowing where they ended up, even though they only lost one game and they lost to the eventual champions. So you hear a lot about that. So if you do check that podcast, it's not too long, it's 30 minutes, but yeah, really, really lovely podcast.
It's well worth a listen.
Yes. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good, yeah. It's a strange feeling to be in such a positive mood when it comes to South African cricket, but I am.
Hey,
I strangely am.
Look, it took us, remember 2019, this time we didn't know what was going on. Mark Boucher was just made coach, 2020, and we were just being smacked by England after winning that first game. This isn't that. This feels different. Largely because of how the Proteas are playing on the field, but it was a great week for South African cricket. The women's team beating Sri Lanka in the end, or the 19 team beating Sri Lanka. I don't know where they finished. I don't know how you would calculate that, but they didn't make it out the Super Sixes. They were
strangely enough, just as they finished below Bangladesh when everything was done and everything was played, despite beating Sri Lanka
and Bangladesh.
They finished below Bangladesh.
Yes.
Finished below Bangladesh, despite beating Bangladesh.
Yeah, so ICC, sort out your tournaments. This isn't how we want things to happen. But women's tri-series is happening. India and West Indies are in the Eastern Cape. They're playing there. We had a no result over the weekend. South Africa playing India for the second time, but there's one more game. India's going to play the West Indies. Then there's going to be a final. So I think South Africa have made it into the final. I think it's the South Africa-India final. I don't think the West Indies could bring their way in because the West Indies have just lost every game they've played, which is another story, and we'll figure out how we're going to cover that because the Women's World Cup starts the end of this month. So yeah, lots of cricket on the go. We are going to be busy talking cricket. The big thing for today is the SA England ODI Series. SA20 is taking a break. Now you've got South Africa and England playing each other in an ODI Series. South Africa playing against the world champions. When we did the preview podcast last week, you can go back and watch that. We thought we'd get whitewashed. We thought we'd be lucky to win one game. Friday night, England were 150 without loss, chasing 299, and they lost. They lost so much. They had I think 7 overs to spare. It wasn't like a last wicket situation.
Scramble, no.
Yeah. It wasn't a last over situation, And then we're like, what's going on? Is this something? And then you're like, okay, look, lucky wins happen. Then we go into Sunday. England scored 354. My biggest nightmare. That was, if you go back to the last podcast, that was my nightmare. It was, can this team score 350 plus? Did we not get a show, Tim? This team not only got to 354, they won the game by 5 wickets. Finally, the batting's coming together. And we got a century from my man, my captain, Temba Bavuma, silencing the haters with the better than a runnable 100 and being a match-winning 100 nonetheless. He scored a lovely 36 on Friday, which was like, okay, this is interesting. This is positive. But Tim, how do you characterize these 2 wins? We won the series, by the way, so that's great. But we need to whitewash them too. So essentially, but we'll talk about Super League. But how are you feeling? How do you characterize these 2 wins?
The thing is, I think you nailed it there on the first one. The first one, I'm still thinking, how do we win that game? And I know I'm pessimistic. I know I am. I know I'm a glass half full, half empty kind of guy. I know I am. So when that first result comes in, I'm thinking, England bottled us. We didn't win it. England stuffed it up. That's how I think. And I still think that England stuffed that up astronomically. Second time round, complete opposite. Second time round, that is how you chase 342. That is how you do it. With contributions from every single person that batted, every single person contributed. Everyone. From Quinton de Kock right the way down to the winning runs. Every single body contributed. That's how you do it. That was a team performance through and through, that 342 chase. I had some issues with the bowling at the back end. I thought we went too short and we were too reliant on the slower balls. But that chase was A level, A class level chase
Led
on
by a
a
guy.
good pitch.
Led by a guy who hasn't had the best 6 months with the bat, came out of that elbow injury, everyone wanting him to step down like he's some person who's going to, step down for the best of the team or the best interest of the team. And a lot of people are like, no, one summer doesn't swallow make. Man averages 42. Your favorite Markham still averages 28. He's doing well now, scoring runs. That 49, we see you, 49 or 43. But that made it all the more sweeter because Timber there was batting at a ceiling.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the ceiling. You got players who are ceiling raises around him. Quinton de Kock, Hannah Claassen, David Miller, Aidan Markham. Those guys are ceiling raisers because they have a better ability and technical ability. And if you have a guy like Timber, and it's that Hashim Amla role, if he bats for like 30 overs, he gets you 100 type of vibes in an ODI. But obviously it's changed. Now he needs to try and go with a little bit more of a positive intent. And obviously Rassi also scoring 100 on Friday. Those two are the guys who set the table for you for a chase. And to a certain extent, it freed up everyone else. But Tim, how much has the Shukri Conrad, Rob Walters era kind of changed the way we're playing? Because this team played very poor ODI cricket over the past 2 years. But it's 2 games into a new coaching system. The coach is still in New Zealand. He's probably FaceTiming, Zooming, whatever it is, into team meetings. Shukri Conrad's the test coach. But what I saw there was that there's an alignment of vision. Timber's batting more freely. And he said that he had a conversation with Shukri and it was like easy. So I was like, oh okay. Maybe Shukri is the batting whisperer, who knows? But obviously Justin Salmons is there too. So like it's much of the same old, but it's slightly different. How much of the different is more Rob Walters, and did you see the difference on
I saw the difference in the batting. I definitely saw the difference in the batting. There was none of this. Let's see where we are in 35 overs. Let's see where we are in 40 overs. We can score 9, 10s, and 11s at the back end. None of that. That's gone out of the window. That's gone out of the window. It was 75 inside the opening 10 overs in the first ODI, and I think it was slightly less the second one. I think it was like 68 in the first 10 overs. But it was intent. It was the intent from Temba and Quinton in particular to get them off to that start, to get the runs in that power play, to set the foundation. The foundation is now being set in the 10, 15 overs. It's not being set at 35, 40, and then going back. So there was a marked difference in the batting. And also the personnel approaches. Ross has been doing it a little while. He's been listening to and hearing the criticism that he churns up too many balls at times, and it at times has put pressure on the team, despite him averaging 70. Yes, averaging 70.
Tim, before you continue, I'm sitting there going, guys, what more do you want? The guy averages 70. If he takes 500 balls but averages 70, I'm okay with that. Like, why do you want to be like, okay, no, can you please score a little quicker? Who cares? He's averaging 70. He's the best ODI batsman in the world. And you heard that, India. He's better than Virat Kohli. He's better than Rohit Sharma. He's better than Manus Labuschagne, whatever you want to call him. He's better than these English guys that you keep on bringing out here. The man is an ODI god. Why are you like, no, Rassi, score quicker? Tell David and Aiden to score quicker. Don't tell Rassi. Russie's your guy. Russie's your rock. Russie's the reason why your bowler can actually win games when they set subpar scores. Without Russie's 100, we're in trouble on Friday. But anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
yeah. No, no, absolutely, absolutely. What I was just gonna say is his strike rate it's a fact. His strike rate is now higher than it was in 2019. If
Yes.
that is a fact. It is a fact that his last 18 months to 2 years, his strike rate has gone up. He's always been good at this format, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just that I'm just pointing out that is an actual fact that he's been improved, and everybody is being pushing it a little bit harder. Um, Heinrich Klaassen is thinking about it a bit more. Heinrich Klaassen is not just going, right, this is a 220, I don't care, I'm just going to go big.
Mm.
He's thinking about it a bit more. So I see the changes in approach in the batting. The bowling, less so. The bowling, I still have issues, I still have concerns at the death. If we're going to be playing against Australia and India and maybe potentially Pakistan, I think we might come unstuck at the death. I still have my issue there with the bowling. I'm not sold on. I actually think that the alarm bells are there. Shamo and Maharaj need to think about it. They need to think about when you've got Bjorn Fontaine and George Linder doing wonders at the moment,
Mm.
right in form, and Shamsi and Maharaj going for plenty in both these games. Yes, it's a flat pitch and it's not exactly conducive to spin. I think there does need to be maybe a question of who's the best white ball spinner. So at the moment, it's not either
My
of those two
yeah,
guys.
my only issue obviously with Shamsi, and I think that's the thing about this new dawn is the bowling. Um, the fast bowlers themselves are pretty good. You took out Sasando, who had a great first game. Bring in Marco Jansen, he did very well as well. Anuk looks good, Lungi looks good, Kagiso looks good. So I like the rotation. That worked for me, right? That really did work for me. And I like Sisanda in the rotation. I feel like guys like Lazard Williams missed out, and the Bartmans who were, or the Pamela's who were in the Barger setup and didn't get a chance, missed out on something like this. Because I like that fast bowler rotation a lot, and I hope it continues because it rests guys, it brings guys in, and everything else. But the spinner issue is for me because I think we need to play two spinners every ODI, even T20, right? I'm okay. So the one spot is for you can an orthodox spinner, right? So you can try Linda, Fortain, or Keshav. Who are, from a batting perspective, Linda is at the top, Fortain second, Keshav difference, but they give you different things from a spinning perspective, right? And so you're gonna have to decide what you want. Which is why I would have loved Bjorn or George, one of the two, to be in the setup right now, because I don't think Keshav is your guy for this format. Because, as I say, I want someone who's going to take wickets. Not yes, killing the game in the middle overs is there, but you've seen how England bat in the middle overs. They don't care. They amp up that run rate incredibly, right? Um, and so my question then is, Shamsi, in the absence of another wrist spinner in South Africa, who takes as many wickets as Tabrez Shamsi, because that's my thing. Who else comes in? Those other guys can't shine in the shoes of Shamsi. He's off form. Yes, I know that. How do you bring him back on form? You play him. Shamsi hasn't T20 World Cup. Shamsi was in and out, right? Obviously SA20 hasn't had the greatest of SA20, but he's also in and out there, right? As teams want to win, they realize he's off form and everything else. But Shamsi needs reps, right? That's what you need to give him, right? And he's still the best bowler in my eyes. So if you guys want to drop Shamsi, bring Kesh, no, that's not an argument for me. My
No.
argument is what you do with Kesh's spot. at 7 or 8, or should be 8 actually. How do you do that? George Linder needs a run in the side. Hopefully, the Netherlands he'll get a run. Bjorn Fortuin needs a run on the side. Hopefully, against the West Indies, I'd say pick Bjorn Fortuin and George Linder and rotate them throughout the Netherlands and the West Indies series and see. I have never been sold on Kesh in this format. I like him. The times he's done well is on conditions that suit him. On conditions like this that are flat, that don't turn, they're just dead. It doesn't help, right? And you also need to look for an off spinner. We're looking at left arm orthodox the whole way. We need a right arm off, and don't bring in Simon Harmer here, please do not. But we need an off
Even
spinner.
I don't want to bring him in.
Yeah. So to a certain extent, Pernal and Subran then comes into the equation, right? Imran Manak comes in. Well, Pangisa's getting his arm done, or
Freeland
tested.
Lupper, if you're worried about batting.
I'd rather play Aiden.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm going very left field there.
Yes,
I agree.
but this is where Shukri and Rob need to figure out what they want, because you've got Shamsi here, and he's not. If Shamsi was a leg break bowler, right, similar to Shane Warne and all the other leg break bowlers, the Mason Cranes and the Zampas, right?
Rashid.
It'd be easier for you. It'd be easier for you to say, okay, let's take a left arm spinner, right? I want the ability to take the ball away from both sides, and right now we are taking the ball away from the left-hander, but the right-hander is having a great time with us, right? Similar to, like, I'd like Sean from Berg to get a go, but I think his Proteas time is over, and we don't have a lot of leg spinners in South African cricket. So look, if you're 19 years old and you're a leg spinner, please, like, do something.
Come through, boy. Come through.
Put your hand up. You know. So that's my biggest worry. But right now we're okay. Middle overs bowling is not great. I miss Andile. I won't lie. I miss Andile, but I know why Andile's not there. And I think Temba's been trying in different things to try and suppress England's momentum as you go along in those middle overs, and some have worked, some hasn't. He's throwing things against the wall to see if they stick. Some do, some don't. He's actually had a great captaincy all throughout him, so I was really happy with that, and obviously that 100 was really good. Looking to Kimberley, it's probably going to be flatter again. We've seen games in Kimberley. I think you might even get a little bit more bounce than Bloom. Do you make any other changes to the side?
I think you bring Sasanda back.
Okay.
I think you bring Sasanda back. I want to see regular occurrences of that from Sasanda. I don't want to see.
Who do you partner him with? Do you partner with Lungi or Kagiso?
If particularly on Lungi, particularly if Lungi is not 100%, which I suspect he probably isn't, because he limped off twice during the last game. And he was just basically reduced to bowling off cutters and nothing else in his last couple of overs. If he's not 100%, then it's a straight choice, easy decision.
Okay.
Plus Santa for Lungi.
Okay. From a batting perspective, Aiden's done enough for me to keep him in. That's my only spot. 4 and 5. Well, Miller's at 5 for me, but the Heino Class and Aiden Markham spots.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I'm looking at. If I'm someone trying to bring someone in, and I like that 49 was within the bounds of what the team required. It was the plan.
Yeah.
Play positively. He's playing positively, and I think in this format he should. Like, I don't understand why he struggles in ODIs but doesn't struggle in T20s. Because my thinking is, if you then give us those quick fire runs at like 7 overs of you batting really well, positively, you'll have gotten over 50, and yeah, you'll get out because we know that's your nature, and then we walk.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I'd like to see Aiden at 4. I haven't actually looked at the stats of him batting at 4 for the Proteas, but I'd like to see him more. Maybe in this game, next game, maybe he'll score the runs. But if he doesn't, we need to look at. But obviously, Ryan's not going to come in. Zubair Hamza is months away from coming to this team, so he's probably going to get a run until the World Cup. And yeah, it's because I look at this team like this is the team we could take to the World Cup.
Yeah,
bar
yeah,
um thingy, bar the spin bowling issue, which we're
yeah.
going to India. We might actually need a third spinner, so Aiden kind of helps in that realm, and he's an off spinner as well. So it kind of balances out everything. It's just obviously who do you pick outside of Keshav if you want to go away from Keshav. Linda extends your batting lineup, which is pretty cool. But yeah, like I see this 11, I'm like, yeah, we can do this at the World Cup. Do you? With Temba as
No,
captain.
I was having a conversation with a friend over the weekend,
Mm.
and it wasn't even after the second game. It was after the first game, and he said, "This team can win it." He said to me, he said this team can win it, and I, I just, you know, I, and after the second game, I'm thinking they're not going to be favourites. Even if they win all their games leading up to the World Cup, they're not going to be favourites. You're going to have India, they're going to be favourites. They're playing at home. England are going to be up there. Australia's going to be up there. But you know what? This team does tick all the boxes. It really does. I could see this 11 going far. I genuinely do. If they play in a similar vein, in a similar sort of confidence, if they solve the Kishoff situation one way or another, yes, I do. And yes, listen, Timber was captain. Yes, you asked me. Timber was captain.
Yeah.
Timber is in my ODI and test teams for the next 12 months.
Do you make
Unless
Temba
he's,
test
you know,
captain for the
uh,
next 12 months?
Tim, Timber was in there. He's done. Um, I feel differently about T20s, but that's a different thing. These two formats, the tests and the 50 overs,
Do you
it's
make him
sealed.
test captain?
No, I don't. No, I leave Dean. Leave Dean where he is. But
Okay.
the issues there we will get into later stage. They are
Yeah, look,
so many.
I'm excited. I'm sitting there going, if Shukri can get these guys to perform like this, imagine if they're wearing white clothing. Like, I'm scared for the West Indies. Like, I'm like they scored 500 against the Zim 11 over the weekend, so like the West Indies don't need much to be scared because they're very good. Well, they beating teams they should be beating, scoring 500 runs. But I'm scared. I'm like, if Shukri can do this, obviously with the whole satellite thing and Rob Walter and everything else, but if this is because this is what was promised at the press conference, a positive brand of cricket, a change in the way the team plays, and you're seeing it. And they backed Aiden because I wouldn't have him in there. I remember I sat here in the preview going, I don't know what you guys are doing. Timber was off form. Quinton was slightly off. But like, how did we get to this point where we're sitting here going, Tim's telling me they actually could win this World Cup? Like 2 games? Are we there? Like, do we just need to get Mark out the room? Was it that easy?
Well, let's just say in football you get the manager bounce, you
The
get
new
the
manager part.
boost,
Oh Lord.
you get the boost. Let's just hope that bounce doesn't just dissipate into nothing in like 6 weeks. Hopefully not.
That's why it's called the new manager bounce, which means we're losing to the Netherlands. So
You know,
yeah. But I think I'm in a great space. I think like I've never had this we've never had reviews like this where everybody from a batting perspective has contributed, right? In the 2 games. And from a bowling perspective, they've actually done quite well apart from the spinners, and we spoke about that. But we've never had a review like that where it's like, okay, what else do we talk about? Like there really isn't anything to be worried about. They're batting at in a positive intent at a high tempo. They're chasing down 350. They are even in a bad batting performance, they put up 299, which I was like, yeah, if that's gonna be your low end, 280 upwards, that gives your bowlers a chance, and you saw that, right? We have the
yeah.
best fast bowling lineup in the world, you know. So for me, I'm like, yeah, like, and the fact that they're playing in Bloom, Indian-ish conditions, I'd love them to play in Durban, but we understand why. Um, but yeah, I'm sitting there going, what changed? Like, what really, really happened? Because They told us they're playing a positive brand of cricket, and it's that all. Is that it? Just
Is that it? Is that all it took?
no,
Was
but
just a,
but 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 that's essentially because last year this team was bad. It was horrible, And so now we're not even crying about the fact that Reeza's on the bench, that we don't want to give Reeza a chance. Yanaman's chilling there on the bench. No one's asking for Yanaman to come in. No one's complaining about Aiden. I'm not complaining about Aiden anymore. I'm like, okay, they're 49. We see you. You're taking wickets as well. So, was it just a change of culture, which makes it seem that that's it?
It does seem like there's a fresh breath there. There's no getting around that. It does seem as if whatever was there, the bad air that was there, has just gone, just dissipated.
It's the same group of guys with the same backroom staff. The only thing that's different is the coach.
I know,
literally. Something, but that's it. That's
and they're probably having Zoom calls with Rob. They're probably having Zoom calls. That's it.
Yeah,
a Zoom call. All it takes.
The faith they gave Sisanda with the whole fitness thing. That also kind of makes you question as to whose call was it. The selectors are the same. Backroom staff is the same. The players are the same. Sisanda never played under Mark Boucher. Was it Mark's call?
I'm not going to go into whose call it was, but
well, I'm going to leave it out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it out there. I'm not saying it's Mark's call, but there's one thing that's different in that team. Everything else is the same. But they're beating the world champions. And yes, the world champions and the world champions are not giving us bad performances. Yes, the batting was horrible, but our bowlers came through. That second game, the fact they made a statement yesterday or Sunday, that says something about what's going on, what's changed in this team.
And I'll tell you why. Because that bowling unit of England, that bowling unit is going to the World Cup. That batter unit is going to get Joe Root and Alex Hales in, and that is going to make a difference. Joe Root and Alex Hales in there is going to make a difference to the batting. But the bowling unit, that's going to the World Cup. That bowling unit is going to the World Cup, and we put 342 against them. That there is the biggest statement that Shukri has made to the side. That right there is massive.
Yeah. Look, I think we're just going to end it there from an excited point. Proteas play England on the third ODI. Please, 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 whitewash them. Whitewash them. Make them feel the pain of a whitewash. One win away in our eyes from qualifying for the World Cup, but they've done more than enough with 2 ODIs against the Netherlands, which essentially you should win. So if they win all their games from now on, even if they lose tomorrow and they win the next 2 games, they should be going to the World Cup. There is a New Zealand-Sri Lanka situation happening. Sri Lanka need to whitewash New Zealand to make it, to even to usurp the Proteas essentially, to get to that max. If they lose one game, we're probably in if we win the Netherlands. So we're breathing a little bit better, breathing a little bit easier. The new dawn that Enoch Nkwe told us about is here. It's here. It's not load shedding here. It is here. Hopefully tomorrow they can do better, because I like doing reviews like this. They're fun. You're like, oh, Aiden scored 49. Well done, Aiden. David Miller. We had Miller time. We had Bavuma, silencing the haters. We had Quinton in the first game doing his thing. That opening partnership isn't getting out for cheap runs anymore. No one, South Africa's like 12 for 1 or something stupid like that. And Russie's Mr. Dependable, as always. That's what we want to be talking about. Oh, Heinrich Klaassen, well done. You've just been the glue. Your run's been there, there for the partnerships and everything else. And I like Heinrich on this side. And yeah, Tim, it's good times, It's whitewash England. Can we whitewash them?
You certainly can. Because England are not playing for anything. I know they go on about the World Cup out the corner, and they actually don't have a lot of games going into the World Cup. But I just get this feeling that there's something not quite right there. Something not quite right. They're almost waiting for the World Cup, and then they're not playing quite at their best. So this is as good a time as any to get a whitewash. Good a time as any.
And yeah, and the problem about World Cup years, the Proteas going into an ODI World Cup, is somehow they play such great cricket before the World Cup, and at the World Cup it just happens. If it happens to be that way, fine. At least we're on a trajectory of something good, and we're going to be competitive at that World Cup. Because I was worried about us going to Zimbabwe, but if West Indies and Sri Lanka go to Zimbabwe, yeah, they can go. Outside of that, Tim, thank you very much. SA20 will be back next week, but we're going to be probably wrapping up this series and the tri series that the women will be having, and then just preparing for that final 2 weeks of the SA20 where the teams are going to go into the playoffs. But Tim, thank you very much for joining. And yeah, that's it. Proteas, you've done us so proud. Let this new dawn continue. Let it not be a new manager bounce, but an escalation to the top. Be the dark horses like New Zealand have always been. Don't be the favorites, but yeah, do embarrass the world champions tomorrow because we want an embarrassment. And Temba, I knew you had it in you. Well done. Outside of that, everyone, goodbye, good night, and lesale kakahiso.